Each and every week, we answer your questions. We like to call it our neighborhood connection. This week, we got a great question on how to fix that drywall where the doorknob went through it. I think everybody's had to deal with that at some point.
Now, it's time for the Neighborhood Connection, sponsored by The Wall.
You know, a hole in a piece of drywall can be a challenge. Maybe it's a doorknob just like this. Maybe it's a kid punching through the wall because they're in high school. Those things happen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very easy fix without having to go out and buy a bunch of materials. And it's going to depend on what the texture is. So this one here is going to be pretty easy, but I'll show you how. There's a cool trick here. You know, that always goes through the drywall. Maybe you're missing that door stop. I'm going to show you how we fix this. So I'm going to make sure we don't have a stud here. Let's put a hole in this and see what happens. That is our typical drywall hole from a door handle. So let me show you how we fix that. First thing I want to come in and do is come in and basically make a cut so I get a good piece of square right here. Let's do that first. Doesn't really matter what this is because we're just going to fill it anyway and it's going to get covered up. So I'm going to come in here like this. So here's my trick. I'm going to make some marks here. And we are going to make what they call that California patch. So this is where you got to be a little careful. I'm going to score these lines from the back side because we're going to save the tape on the outside. So watch this. So we have this here. Now I'm going to carefully peel this paper off the front, because that is going to be our tape. That worked. Now we have a patch that is got some drywall on it. Let's see if that fits. All right, so that's going to be our patch here. Now let's get some mud mixed up, and I'll show you why I'm going to mix the mud up, because if I use just regular drywall mud that you get in the box, this is going to be kind of a multi-day project. But I'm going to use the 20-minute fast set mud that you buy in a bag because you can just mix it up. And the cool part with that is it saves this and makes it a much quicker project. You're not doing this over a week as you're waiting for things to dry, especially in the springtime. Let me get some of that and get it mixed up. All right, now this stuff is super powdery. Be really careful. It makes a heck of a mess. It's almost like baby powder, and it doesn't take much. So that's all we're probably going to need for right now. This stuff sets up quick enough that you really just need to use a little bit of water. We're just trying to make kind of peanut butter here, or kind of like frosting. So I am just going to mix this up. So what I do now is I take this and back butter this right here. So by doing that, I'm going to put all of this tape. And I like using these little tiny, you know, putty knives for this because it gives you a little more control. You're just working with a little tiny piece. For doing this part, that's where that really makes it kind of nice. And I'll jam it up in here too, because guess what? This is basically your glue for this whole project. So I'm going to put just a little more on the outside of this that we can work with. So I want mud under every little piece of the tape, because if you don't, it's going to be a mess. And it'll pop up and you'll fight it later. And this is kind of where the challenge happens if you have texture on this. Sometimes you'll have to go out and really get out here pretty far, and the thicker this is, the more we have to get out and get out there as far as a distance from the center to make this look smooth, because we don't want to see this anymore once this is done here. All right, so that was 20-minute mud, which translates in a nice dry area that's warm to about an hour to get that to dry to this part. Now here's one of my secrets. You can just grab a sanding sponge. This I got off Amazon. It's a spy sponge which has a light in it. What that does, it shows me where my mistakes are that I need to sand. When it's clean, it'll show you. So this is kind of like the cheating tool to doing this. And so now I'm going to make some dust. Now here's the problem. We've got some little spots like this right here. This is where we're going to take a couple spots of mud here and we're going to re-mud this. But really, you're just going to go out a little bit farther so we can get this all sanded and smoothed in. Now, if you're going to be doing this and you have an eggshell or any kind of texture on it, what you do is after that second or third coat of mud, don't be surprised if it's 3, you got it all sand it, feel it. Like right now I feel I got a little bit of hump in here that I can sand out, but I'm gonna need to put this on here anyway, so then we'll block this out. Really after that, coat of primer, then you can actually use some of the spray texture if you want to try to match it. And then another coat of primer, coat of paint, and it's looking like money. You'll never be able to tell that that was a hole in the wall.